welcome to 996 The Howl. For the uninitiated, this is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes, and if you're a fan in that building, you got your money's worth. What an incredible game. It almost felt like a playoff game. The heart rate was up, the nerves were up. Such a defensive battle displayed by both teams shutting down the opposing team's top six. This was a game where your bottom six players played a huge role, had a huge impact on the game, and you looked for them to create your energy, and I felt both teams did that. For the Coyotes, their Derek Brassard, Christian Dvorak, and Tyler Pitlick line, coupled with that Larson, Fisher, and Krause line, were excellent. I felt the top six for the Coyotes were too quiet, but you can't blame the Golden Knights for shutting them down because the Coyotes did the exact same thing against Mark Stone, Pacioretty, Tuck, Carlson, Marchessault, pretty much until 40 seconds left into the game. They're kept to the outside. Not too many grade A chances for both teams. I mean, maybe one or two for each. You had that Kessel breakaway, a couple posts for the Coyotes, and then Vegas had a flurry of chances maybe in the early third period. But, you can't fault for the Coyotes top six for not, showing up and producing and generating offense when the Vegas Golden Knights were shutting them down just like the Coyotes were doing. So moving on from that, obviously such a frustrating end to a wonderful game. I mean, in my eyes, that is icing. But in the hockey world, it's just icing is just a judgment call. It's just like speeding on a highway. Everyone speeds. So the cop's not going to fine you for going 10 kilometers or miles over the speed limit. It's just a general societal rule that you can go about 10 or 20 miles above the speed limit, just like in icing. There's so many times where players ice the puck right before the red line and the refs don't call it. They let the flow of the game go. If they were so stringent and non-lenient on icing, there would be icing calls all throughout the game. So generally the refs won't call an icing unless it's egregious, unless it's obvious that the player was way before the red line. But in terms of just a context of what happened, I mean, Alex Tuck is retreating from his zone. In the rule book, the rule says when you're gaining entry across the red line, you can dump it in, and the release of the puck has to be before the center line. But in this context, Alex Tuck wasn't gaining entry of the offensive zone. He was retreating, and the puck was way before the red line, but obviously the exact moment when the puck releases off his stick was impossible to tell, not only during normal pace of hockey, but even in the replays. To get to the exact frame where the puck releases off his stick was almost impossible. But honestly, because the Coyotes were on the losing end of it, you hope the ref would just blow that icing, because it had no impact on the game otherwise if he did call it icing. It was pretty blatant that he was on the red line or just before the red line. He should have called it. Chikrin was even ahead of the Vegas attacking player. I think actually, I'm not sure who actually raced to the puck. It might have been Marchessault who fed William Karlsson, but Chikrin was ahead of the Vegas player. He hit the hash marks in the face-off dot first before the Vegas player. Unfortunately, Chikrin guessed wrong on how the puck would ricochet off the backboards, and it also hit the back of the net, which made the Vegas player get the puck first. He fed Karlsson, and Karlsson scores. It's such a frustrating end to a wonderful game. The Coyotes deserved better. They deserved at least a point, and it was looking like they would go to overtime anyways. You can fault the Coyotes for having very little offensive zone time or possession time or offensive momentum, but this was such a defensive battle where the neutral zone was such battled territory for both teams. And the Coyotes, it's not like they were letting Vegas run all over them in their defensive zone either. It was just a great battle, a great hockey game, great entertainment. And if you're going to lose a hockey game, you should be losing those types of games and not like Wednesday night game where you get blown out. You have nothing going for you. You're defending bad. Your goalie is poor, and your offense is non-existent. You'd rather lose games like this where you can build off of it and carry a lot more positives out of it than carry the negatives out of it. They got to look ahead for their next opponent. They're finally done with the Vegas Golden Knights, and good riddance. But that was a great rivalry. You saw it come to fruition in that fourth game. It was such a physical game. Ryan Reeves finally established himself in the final game of that series, and it looked like there was a lot of bad blood between the two teams. Nothing too violent, but if the NHL is looking to make rivalries a thing in the NHL moving forward, then if you let teams play 3 or 4 times in a row, it's just natural that the teams will build hate for each other, and we saw that blossom in the fourth game. But for the next opponent, the Coyotes have the Anaheim Ducks, who just beat the Avalanche Sunday night, and it was due to John Gibson. The Ducks had one shot in all of their third period against the Avalanche, and that one shot was an empty netter. They just relied on Gibson, and Gibson stole the game for them against a top team in the Avalanche. So the Coyotes, they got to be ready for John Gibson. He's an elite goaltender. Anaheim doesn't have the best offense or the best defense, but they have an elite goaltender who can steal games. They have to not get frustrated. They have to throw a lot of pucks on net to Gibson. If you have a chance, you got to shoot it. You can't wait and make these pretty plays against a goalie like that. You just got to be on your game, shoot pucks, get deflections, crash the net, and that's pretty much how they're going to win against Gibson. I like it that they're still at home. I feel like the fans give such an advantage and energy to the hockey game. You feel it right away, as opposed to those first 2 games in Vegas. It was quiet, not the best entertainment, but the past 2 games in Arizona were wonderful hockey games to watch. So they got the Ducks next. They got to regroup, not really flush this game down like Wednesday night, but take that frustration and just know you played a good hockey game and take that with you to the next series. You don't want to totally forget it like Wednesday. There's a lot of good things that were happening Sunday afternoon. A lot of good defense, good neutral zone play, a couple bad breaks in the offensive zone, but the top 6 needs to be better. That Kessel, Hayden, and Keller line was a bit too quiet. Even Garland was a bit quiet after the first period, I felt, and Schmaltz as well. But you got to stick with it, not get frustrated, and get some more pucks on net. I felt their shot totals were a bit low, but Vegas didn't really outshoot them that much. Vegas, I think, had about under 25 shots too. So if you limit a high offensive team like Vegas to about 25 shots and under, you're doing a good job. Coyotes aren't known for a high shooting team. I think they got about 19 or 20 shots themselves. So it was a tight defensive battle with an unfortunate end, and they just got to move on. I liked their play. Offense could be better, obviously, but I'm glad they're not repeating the same lack of play like they did in Game 2 against Vegas. They moved on from it quickly with a quick win, 5-2 win, and then a great battle where they went toe-to-toe with Vegas. And for a Coyotes team to go toe-to-toe with such a great team, it should give them confidence moving forward and just continue playing to their system, and they'll get their points and they'll get luck on their side too. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support.